10 rules. FIFA just changed 10 rules ahead of the 2026 World Cup. 10 major rule changes, not minor tweaks, designed to tackle football's core problem, player time wasting. And as you may know from our previous videos, much is at stake. 5.51 billion euros worth of talent is heading to North America, the biggest World Cup ever, the most watched sporting event on the planet. And just as the world is getting ready for kickoff, FIFA has decided that making the tournament bigger wasn't enough. They changed the rules of the game itself. Some of these changes feel so obvious that you wonder how football survived without them for this long. Others are about to spark arguments that could last long after the final whistle. Some changes are predicted to create more debate than they resolve, and one of them has already produced its first major consequence before the tournament even begins. We are ranking all 10, worst to best. Let's start at the bottom. Rule 10. Body cameras for referees. FIFA has approved referees wearing body cameras during 2026 matches. Not their own cameras, the competition provides them, controls the footage, decides what gets released. The footage will be used for two things: training future referees and giving broadcasters a new angle, a referee's eye view of the game. A referee's perspective on a penalty decision sounds genuinely interesting. In practice, this changes nothing about how the game is played. No player behaves differently because a referee has a small camera on their chest. An interesting concept with no tangible impact on gameplay. Rule 9. Mandatory water breaks. At the 22nd and 67th minute of every match, a mandatory 3-minute water break. Officially, this is about hydration and player welfare, and to be fair, some 2026 matches will be played in serious heat across 3 different countries. That concern is absolutely real. FIFA has also confirmed that broadcasters can show advertisements during these breaks. 3 minutes, twice per match, 104 matches. Is it a coincidence? Broadcasters gained hundreds of extra commercial slots at exactly the same moment FIFA introduced mandatory breaks. Perhaps both player welfare and broadcast revenue can thrive. Players stay hydrated, and television executives stay very happy. Rule 8. Covering your mouth could get you sent off. You have seen it 1,000 times. A player leans in, covers his mouth, whispers something. Nobody knows what was said, not cameras, commentators, or the millions watching at home. Under FIFA's new rule, that little football tradition could suddenly become a lot more dangerous. If a player or coach covers their mouth while speaking to a referee, an opponent, or anyone else on the pitch, and the referee suspects disrespectful or offensive language, they can show a straight red card. The idea is understandable. Football has always had a second game happening off camera. The conversations, the derogatory remarks, the things microphones never catch. The problem is that players cover their mouths for almost everything. Tactical instructions, private conversations, inside jokes, even simple habits. So now imagine a World Cup quarterfinal, 80,000 fans, millions watching around the world. 2 players whisper to each other for 3 seconds. Was it a tactical instruction, or was it something worth a red card? Because in that moment, the referee has to decide. And that is exactly where the controversy begins. Rule 7, the goalkeeper's 8-second rule, now with consequences. Goalkeepers have technically had a time limit on holding the ball for decades. 6 seconds was the official rule. In reality, it was almost never enforced. Goalkeepers held the ball for 12, 15, sometimes 20 seconds. They would look upfield, walk a few steps, look upfield again. Everyone knew what was happening. Referees usually looked the other way, and football simply accepted it as part of the game. For 2026, the limit has been extended to 8 seconds, but this time FIFA actually means it. If a goalkeeper holds the ball for more than 8 seconds, the opposition gets a corner kick. Immediately, no warning, no second chance. The extra 2 seconds are fair. 6 was genuinely tight for a goalkeeper under pressure. But the extra 2 seconds are not the real story. The enforcement is. For 30 years, this rule existed on paper and nowhere else. In 2026, it exists on the pitch, too. Goalkeepers who have spent years treating those 6 seconds as a friendly suggestion are about to experience a very different World Cup. Rule 6. VAR can now review second yellow cards. Few aspects of modern football are as divisive as VAR. The technology is often accurate, but its implementation sparks debate, the waiting, the uncertainty, the moments when an entire stadium stands frozen, staring at a giant screen and wondering what is happening. And for 2026, VAR is getting even more power. Previously, VAR could only review straight red cards. A second yellow card, fritas, the kind that sends a player off after 2 bookings, was untouchable. If the referee got it wrong, the decision stood. Even on the biggest stage in football, not anymore. Rule 5. Fake injuries just got expensive. You know exactly what this rule is about. 86th minute, your team is leading by 1 goal. A midfielder goes down, not injured, not even close. But then the physio arrives, a few players gather. Someone needs a drink, someone else needs a quick conversation. The clock keeps ticking, and somehow 30 seconds turns into 3 minutes. FIFA has had enough. Under the new rule, if a player receives medical treatment on the pitch, they must leave the field for at least 1 minute. The game continues. The player watches from the sideline. Your choice: stay on the pitch and deal with the pain, or take the treatment and leave your team a player short for 60 seconds. For anyone using injury simulations to waste time, that calculation suddenly becomes much harder. 1 minute with 10 players in a World Cup match is a dangerous price to pay for 30 seconds off the clock. Goalkeepers, however, are exempt, and honestly, that is probably for the best. Forcing a goalkeeper off the pitch for a full minute would likely create a bigger problem than the one FIFA is trying to solve. So for outfield players, the fake injury era may finally be ending. For goalkeepers, let's just say some old habits might survive a little longer. Which player do you think will be the first to try this in 2026 and instantly regret it? Drop your answer in the comments. Rule 4. Only the captain can approach the referee. Picture the scene. A controversial penalty, a red card in the 75th minute. Within seconds, 6 players surround the referee. Everyone is talking, nobody is listening. The referee is trying to make a decision while 6 different people tell him he is wrong. A long-standing football tradition. It ends in 2026. Only the team captain can approach the referee to discuss a decision. Any other player who approaches, regardless of what they say, regardless of how calmly they do it, receives a yellow card. Immediately, no exceptions. Honestly, this rule should have existed 30 years ago. Surrounding a referee has never changed a single decision in the history of football, not once. It wastes time, creates pressure, and teaches every young player watching that this is how you respond to decisions you disagree with. One captain, one conversation, everyone else stays back. Verdict: long overdue, and one of the few rule changes that could improve the atmosphere of major matches from day one. Rule 3. Substitutions now have a 10-second limit. Once the substitution board goes up, the outgoing player has exactly 10 seconds to leave the pitch from the nearest boundary line. If they do not leave in time, the incoming substitute must wait 1 full minute on the sideline before entering. The team plays with 10 players for that entire minute. You know exactly what this rule is targeting. The player who, in the final minutes, slowly exits the pitch, tying a boot, clutching a hamstring, or suddenly inspecting the corner flag. 10 seconds. That is the new rule, and it has already produced its first victim. In a pre-tournament friendly, Iceland's substitution went over the 10-second limit. Their substitute was forced to wait on the sideline. Japan scored during that minute. Iceland lost. The tournament has not even started yet, and the rule has already changed the outcome of a match. Verdict: simple, brutal, effective. One of the easiest rules on this list to understand and one of the hardest to ignore. Rule 2. The 5-second countdown. Throw-ins and goal kicks. If a player takes too long to take a throw-in, the referee starts a visible countdown, 5 seconds. If the throw-in is not taken in time, possession switches to the other team. If a goalkeeper delays a goal kick beyond 5 seconds, the opposition gets a corner. In theory, this should speed up matches significantly. Every throw-in, every goal kick, Every restart now comes with a visible clock attached to it. In practice, football will probably find new ways to waste time. The player taking the throw-in may be out of excuses, but the teammate 20 yards away might suddenly need his boot tied. The wall at a free kick might take a little longer to form. Someone somewhere will try something. More football is the goal, even if gains are modest. Verdict: the best structural rule on this list. It will not eliminate time wasting completely, and nothing ever will, but it might finally make it a little harder. Rule 1. Dog's-o. Advantage plus goal equals no card. This is the one that took 4 years. Dog's-o. Denying an obvious goal. Scoring opportunity. The rule that says if you foul a player who is clear through on goal, you receive a red card. Under the old rule, if the referee played advantage and a goal was still scored, the red card became a yellow. The logic was that the opportunity was not technically denied. For 2026, FIFA has gone one step further. If advantage is played and the goal is scored, there is no card at all. And honestly, that just makes sense. The attacking team scored, the foul was ineffective, and the defense was penalized by the goal. An additional red card felt like an over-punishment. This is the kind of rule change that makes you wonder why it took so long. 4 years of debate and controversy, with players often sent off after already conceding the goal they tried to stop. Finally fixed. Verdict: the smartest rule on this list. Simple, logical, and probably 4 years overdue. 10 rules, all trying to solve the same problem. More football, less theater. Some of these changes will work exactly as FIFA intended. Some will create entirely new arguments. And some, like Dog's-o, simply fixed something that never made much sense in the first place. But here is the bigger picture. Over the last 3 videos, we have talked about the biggest World Cup in history, the most valuable squads ever assembled, and now the rules that will shape the tournament itself. 48 teams, 3 countries, 104 matches, and a version of the World Cup that looks a little different from everyone that came before it. Will all 10 rules work perfectly? Of course not. Players adapt, coaches adapt, the game adapts, it always has, but the direction feels right. More football, less time wasting, more accountability for players, for coaches, for referees. The game itself has not changed, but the world around it has, and in just a few days we will finally see what that looks like on football's biggest stage. So which of these 10 rules do you think will have the biggest impact at World Cup 2026? And which one is most likely to create chaos? Drop both answers in the comments and share this with a football fan who has no idea these changes are coming. Because when this tournament is over, we are coming back to this list, and we will find out which rules changed the game and which ones changed nothing at all. That conversation is coming, and so is our next video. Who truly deserves to lift the cup?